personally didn't have so much connection to Lord Nityananda for a very, very long time. To Lord Chaitanya, somehow I could relate, I could have a good connection with him. Especially when I was worshipping Gornita in Heidelberg, very special deities. Some of you may know. So that was, yeah, I had some connection, but the Lord Nityananda, I really couldn't understand for a long time who is he, what is he doing. And if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's pretty scary because it's written that those who don't appreciate Lord Nityananda, then they lose all mercy and so on and so forth. So it's pretty scary when you read it. But somehow or other, I was praying that I understand the position of Lord Nityananda and who he is and what is he doing. And somehow or other, I was guided to different knowledge, different parts. And it's quite an amazing personality, actually, Lord Nityananda. When we understand him fully, it's just amazing. You know, it's just really amazing what he's doing and who he is, who is he for us, like that. So therefore, I thought to get full understanding of that, to read this verse from Bhagavad Gita, this 1864. It is, we can say some people say actually it's most important thing in Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna underlines it in many different ways. This, what he says in this verse, is the most important, is the most important knowledge. It's the most important thing he has to say. Okay. So I will read you first the Sanskrit. Sarva vihatamam bhuya shrinu me paramam vacha ishtosi me dridam iti tato vakshyami te hitam. So I checked the different translations of this verse and commentaries. And as Srila Prabhupada, as well as other translators or commentators, they keep this verse secret, hidden. They don't really, even in translation, when you read Prabhupada translation, you cannot get it fully why this verse is so important. You know, so they keep it kind of hidden. They prefer to speak, or even other sampradayas, they prefer to speak about the next two verses. Yeah. But all our acharyas, they go like a little bit around, and you have to really dig deep to find the meaning of this verse. So I will try to explain it shortly now. I hope I can do a good job with that. So first, Krishna says here, Sarva Guyatamam Bhuya. That's the first line. So Sarva Guyatamam. This, what I'm going to say now, it's the biggest, the most confidential knowledge of all. So it's not only confidential or hidden or secret, no, Guyatamam, Guya. It's not only secret, but it's the most secret. So we have, like really superlative here. This is most secret knowledge. And Krishna goes even farther. It's most secret knowledge of all. Like superlative, right? It's not only secret. It's not the biggest secret, but it's the biggest secret of them all. Yeah. So Krishna really tells Arjuna, like, listen, right? If you go around somewhere in the temple, now if somebody tells us, Prabhu or Mataji, you want to know some secret? You go, oh, okay. Secret, always good, right? And what if somebody tells you, well, do you really know, like, really want to know this most confidential secret here? Yes. Yeah, there would be even more, like, yes. And then the biggest secret of them all, that's like, includes everything, right? So Krishna prepares us, or prepares Arjuna here. Listen. And Arjuna, hopefully, his ears are getting bigger at that moment. So we have Sarva Guyatamam Bhuya. And then Bhuya means again. Or I will tell you that again. Means I told you already this once, or actually more times in Bhagavad Gita. But I'm telling you again, just to make sure that you get it. And then Shrinu me paramam vacha. So again, hear it from me. Krishna says again in the second line. There's like, again, hear it from me. Hear it from me. Be attentive. Paramam vacha. This is the supreme instruction, supreme knowledge. That's the vacha is also like words. I cannot tell you more than that. That's the supreme words I'm telling to you. I'm speaking to you now. And then it goes in the fourth line. Tato vakshyami te hitam. So I'm speaking this to you again. And Krishna says here again, I'm repeating this to you again, just for your benefit. There's no other reason why I'm telling you that. I'm telling you that. I'm telling you for your benefit. So what is the secret? Krishna says here. That's the third line. The third line, Ishtosime dridam iti. Iti in Sanskrit is a special word. So iti means like that what is said. This thing is a kind of like what do you call the quotes, quotation marks. It's like somewhere there is et, that means this, what was before et or after et, usually before. That's the most important thing, like the quote. Okay, so what Krishna says here is, you are very dear to me. Let's stay with it for a moment. That's the most secret, biggest secret of them all. You are very dear to me. And Krishna just doesn't speak just to Arjuna. He speaks to all of us. And this confirms in the next verse when Krishna says that again, if you just think about me, if you worship me, you will come to me because you're very dear to me. Now he uses word priya there. Very dear, very beloved. So Krishna speaks to us. The most confidential knowledge is that we are dear to him. It's not like we know from the Christianity or some other religions that the God is the punisher. He is the guard, right? He is the hater, whatever. He hates the sins and people who sinning. That's not Krishna. Krishna is the most loving person. So, because if he's so loving, and we know that Krishna's heart is just so soft that he suffers even when his enemies suffer. If his enemies are unhappy, Krishna is feeling pain. His heart is so soft. So at the beginning of all things, not all the creation, at the beginning of all things, when the Krishna was there, and this other subject, how the living entities, Srimati Radhani appeared, maybe we discuss it on Gaura Purnima, because this feels good to Lord Chaitanya's mood, and why Lord Chaitanya appeared and how it happened. Another very interesting story. But here we stay with Krishna at the beginning, where some souls, they decided, no, we don't want to have anything with the spiritual world, and with Krishna we go to material world. So this hurt Krishna very intensely. He felt intense pain. His heart was broken, and the whole secret here in the situation is, or we should really know and understand it, that Krishna suffers quietly. Okay? And Krishna was not going around in Vrindavan and telling everyone, you know, this conditioned souls, they fall down, and now I really feel pain. I really feel compassion to them. I really would like to do something for them. Yeah? Krishna suffers in silence. Okay? But because it is Krishna, because it is God, nothing what he does, what he thinks can pass unnoticed. So actually, from this pain, from this deep pain, from the suffering, from his broken heart, Lord Balaram was manifested. Lord Balaram is the first extension of Krishna, extension. Yeah. The first person who was manifested. And he is born from this suffering, from the pain of Krishna, of his broken heart. So he can understand, he understood immediately, Lord Balaram understood immediately what is going on. That Krishna is suffering, and because because Lord Balaram, as everybody else, loves Krishna, like anything, you can say. He's his brother, he's the first expansion, and he's just pure love for Krishna. He has this pure love for Krishna, the biggest probably, maybe except for Srimati Radharani. Yeah? So Lord Balaram understood immediately what is going on, and he said, no, Krishna cannot suffer like that. And together with Yoga Maya, Lord Balaram immediately make the arrangements. Now, first of all, the Yoga Maya influenced Krishna that he forgets about material world, that he doesn't remember it, because it will be too painful. And Lord Balaram expanded himself in different forms again, in Mahasankarshana and Chaturvyuha and so on. And the very elaborate arrangement was made so that no news from material world comes, so to say, to Goloka Vrindavan. So that Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan, he doesn't have to deal with all this other stuff, because his heart is just too soft for them. Yeah? And Lord Balaram immediately took to heart this mission of bringing all the conditioned souls back to Krishna, because he felt, he knows the pain that Krishna felt. So Lord Balaram's mission, through his expansions as Guru Tattva and so on, he made his life to mission so that everybody from the material world goes back to the spiritual world, so that Krishna doesn't have to suffer because of the separation from his devotees. And as we know from Krishna book, still the Lord Balaram, he's pretty rigid. He's a pretty intense person. Sorry. And because his mission is to protect Vrindavan, protect the mood in Vrindavan, therefore he has to be also very strict with the conditioned souls and with people who want to approach Goloka Vrindavan. So that made also Lord Balaram not really happy, but he didn't know what to do next. And then when Krishna manifested his form as Lord Chaitanya, that's a very interesting story. I promise I will tell you next time. Maybe next time, in occasion from Gaura Purnima. So that when that Krishna manifested his features, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Balaram immediately saw the chance. Now he can do something. And because Lord Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna, and the soft heart of Srimati Radharani is there, is inside of Lord Chaitanya. And therefore Lord Chaitanya is so merciful. And Lord Nityananda saw, okay, in this feature, Lord Chaitanya is, he's not as strict as in other features, like when he comes to material world as Krishna, as Vasudeva Krishna. He's very strict. He doesn't give people knowledge about himself so easily, and so on. Or Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is a little bit more liberal, maybe, but Lord Krishna is pretty strict when he comes to the material world. But it's Lord Chaitanya, because the whole compassion and love of Srimati Radharani is there. Lord Chaitanya is extremely merciful. So Lord Balaram immediately manifested himself as Lord Nityananda. And as Lord Nityananda, the Balaram, he gave up all the, how you say, all this rigidness and all the, strictness, so to say. Right? It's just pure compassion of Lord Balaram manifested as Lord Nityananda. So just try to imagine that. The pain of separation of Krishna, which is, this pain of separation from his devotees, from the living beings of Krishna, it's Balaram. And the essence of Balaram, the whole compassion, compassion to Krishna because he's suffering, but also compassion to living entities because they're also suffering. It all manifested as Lord Nityananda. So just his compassion and mercy, without strictness, without anything else, that's Lord Nityananda. So Lord Nityananda, he has no rules. We know that Lord Nityananda is Avadhuta. Avadhuta means there's no rules. He does whatever he wants. So as an Avadhuta, Lord Nityananda, so to say, calls to everyone. It's like being an Avadhuta. There's like the essence of Bhagavad Gita, which most of different sampradayas consider to be the most important verse of Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharmam parityaja. So give up everything, all kinds of religiosity, rules, everything, and just surrender to me. Right? That's like this essence verse from Bhagavad Gita, essential verse. And Lord Nityananda is personification of that. Lord Nityananda says, okay, whatever you did, whatever happened, whatever you're thinking of, whatever your qualifications, it really doesn't matter. Just chant Hare Krishna. And Lord Nityananda appears like, totally Avadhuta, like half crazy, right? Sometimes he runs, sometimes he rolls on the ground, sometimes he's just singing for days and days. And he goes everywhere to preach. When he took Haridas Thakur with him, he went to the homes of Muslims, of all kinds of people, all kinds of rascals and dacoits, and Lord Nityananda was begging him, was falling to his feet or her feet. He said, just chant, everything will be okay. And if that didn't work, he went outside and he was chased away from the home, and he was rolling on the ground outside the home and just crying, please chant Hare Krishna. So that's the whole mood and mercy of Lord Nityananda. It's just incredible. It's like he says, I get it, you may not be qualified. I make you qualified. Please become qualified. I will give you all the qualities, everything. You just give up all the stuff that you're doing right now and just only chant. Come back to us. Think about Krishna. So, that's who Lord Nityananda is. That's who Lord Nityananda is. personification of the mercy and compassion, which is born out of pain, of Krishna's pain for us, no? Loving pain. So Lord Nityananda doesn't consider any of our sins, any of our misgivings. He just tells us, just open your heart. Just open your heart and everything will be given to you. The prema will be given to you. Everything else doesn't matter. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you about Lord Nityananda. You have some realizations, questions or comments you would like to maybe share from your side? Yaji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. Now I understand why the picture of Lord Balaram is the biggest on my altar. A very large one from Temple Berlin. I was from the first time in Krishna consciousness, I was most attracted to Lord Balaram. Now I know the pain I caused for Krishna, and I'm very grateful that I come closer to realize this and feel a little bit of this. You said just that Lord Nityananda said, just open your heart. That seems so easy, but it isn't in my insignificant experience. What are the first steps for us? Just open your heart.
Well, the easiest way would be to associate with someone who already opened the heart and can direct you. Of course, that's the easiest way. But it all comes ultimately. It all comes to a decision. No, there's nothing else that we need to do actually. Especially in Kali Yuga, mercy is just it's just flowing around. And as in Chaitanya Charitamrita is written, Lord Chaitanya gives it. Lord Nityananda will more freely, but there is a price to pay. Actually, there is one price to pay, and that is intense greed to get it. So we have to want it, and if it is available, we should just give up everything else, become avadhuta or whatever. Maybe not immediately, but yes, that's the price we need to pay. There's eagerness, and that is, as I noticed, for many devotees, very difficult actually. Because we have so many plans. We are, born with so many ideas and plans and whatnot, right? We want to still experience so many things in this material world, and we think we will miss something. That I also experienced many times among devotees, that this thing, I will miss something. I will miss out. And what we don't understand is that Krishna, Krishna has everything. It's like Prabhupada said this story that when father of Prabhupada was telling him, you have just 2 hands, and Krishna has 10 hands. So if Krishna wants to take away something from you with his 10 hands, how can you keep it with your 2 hands, right? You cannot hold it. But then if Krishna wants to give you something, and he is giving you with 10 hands, and you just have 2 hands, how you can hold that either, right? So that's sometimes this part we miss sometimes in our philosophy, that Krishna is not a miser. Krishna is grateful. He's his most loving person, and whatever we give up, whatever he wants that we give up for him, you can be sure that he gives you millions times more. Maybe not in the way that you expect it. No? That's another point here. I expect to have millions because I want to have big house for preaching and temple and so on. And Krishna may think, no, that's not what you need. This is not your destiny. Your destiny is doing this. No? And if you surrender, if you allow yourself to get free from all these misconceptions that you may have, then you will notice that Krishna actually is leading you all the time in certain direction towards a certain service. And he arranges everything in such a way that you can actually open your heart, that something actually may happen there. Yeah?
Yes, thank you very much, Prabhu. I can, it's really amazing. As you know, I'm in separation from my partner now, and this is a really special emotional situation here. And exactly in this time, I have so many realizations, and Krishna is much more closer than before.
Yeah.
Because I waited already for, or he waited already for a long time that I make this step. I think.
Yeah. He's waiting. He's waiting all the time. He's patient. But we are dragging ourselves. Always has something more important to do. Yeah. Okay, thank you for a nice question. Look, Pavani, I think.
I just wanted to, because when you were speaking about Lord Balaram and how he's made actually out of this pain, it made me think about Maharaj Ambarish. I like that story in the Canto 9 because it also opens, it reveals many secrets. And when Lord Vishnu or Krishna is saying how devotees are in his heart and he's in the heart of his devotees, and devotees don't know anyone but him, and he doesn't know anyone but his devotees, then he says that he doesn't even want to enjoy his transcendental opulence without them. And then in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains how a devotee, so like a preacher here, but it starts with Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, of course. But he was also speaking about the acharyas and all the devotees who were in the preaching mission. Like they know the secret of the transcendental order just because he said that he cannot enjoy his transcendental opulence without others. So therefore they know this secret, and that's why they know that what brings him the most pleasure is when they bring the souls back to him. So like this is the secret of all the preachers, and that's what they do, and that's why Krishna is the most pleased with them. So that just made me remember that story. So I wanted to share just.
Yeah, nice. That's what Krishna says here, right? You are very dear to me. That's the topmost secret. Yeah. And as I wrote once, now Krishna says 22 times, even more, when you count some other verses in Bhagavad Gita, yeah, you are very dear to me, just come to me, come back to me, and so on, in different ways. Yeah. So this is, really about 45 minutes conversation, and somebody tells you in 45 minutes, 22 times certain thing, it must be pretty important. Like Mangala Chandrakya told me about 3 or 4 times I should come to Radha Desh, and I got it, I didn't went for 22 times because I understood, okay, it's important. Right? So I got it after 3 times. And if she said 22 times, maybe I would start to think that there's something wrong with her. Right? Yeah, I'm sorry. No. But no, just imagine, just short conversation of 45 minutes, and Krishna repeats it again and again and again. Yeah.
But we still don't get it. And I had this dream today that I can share, because it was a weird dream, actually, but it made me think about Krishna consciousness, because actually in a dream there was like this devotee who was speaking about Krishna, and this pure devotee who actually saw Krishna. And then this devotee in the room, he received a japa of this person, this pure devotee who saw Krishna. And then he yelled like, oh, I saw him, I saw him. And then he had this like ecstatic symptoms, and he started shaking, because I guess that's one of them. And then because everyone in the room were there, they also started shaking, because with whom you are, in a way, it's like his energy went to other people, and also it went to me. And then this devotee, his body, you know how it's described, how the body also gets in like different shapes in the scriptures because of the ecstasy, and everyone else in the room also got in that shape. But my body also got in that shape, but my mind stayed the same, and I couldn't realize, even though I was there, even though I was affected like with this like ecstasy that this devotee was having, I still had my conditioned mind who didn't get it, and was just like, oh, why am I having, you know, this body? It's like, and the mind was thinking like what you were now saying, like something is always holding you back to this material world. Like you always think you will miss something, and when you experience, for instance, when you see something like that, then in my case at least, there was like a fear, like I don't know this part, because it is fear in a way, like what will happen to this identity with which I identify, actually, if I just how do you say, let go. So I don't know, I found it like interesting today. I mean, you can see how conditioned you are, and how it is really true that only a pure devotee can see a pure devotee, and if you are so conditioned, sometimes you cannot see anything. So
yeah, we always have these material conceptions. And there's also Krishna's mercy that he sends us such dreams and realizations, you know, in different ways, that you realize, oh, maybe I should also look here or at that thing, you know. Krishna shows us in different ways, like through other people, through dreams. You know, sometimes we are not open when we are conscious. We are not open to different signs or words or whatever comes, because of, you know, our mind is just too rigid and too blocked. So then Krishna uses our dreams to do that. And in dreams you can get actually very deep realizations sometimes, because then you're much more open. You know, it's like your mind doesn't have so much to say. You're more on the, yeah, maybe your mind is not different. Yeah, but no, when we especially are in this dim, very deep sleep, what is called, there's some technical name in Sanskrit, but when we are in this very deep sleep, then the soul actually goes in the Brahman effulgence of Paramatma. Yeah? And we are very deeply connected then to the Paramatma in the heart, to Krishna. Yeah? And then in this state, the mind has nothing, has not much to say. So we are really starting with from the platform, the soul. So many things may happen in such dreams. When we read it, then Krishna may send us all kinds of realizations through dreams. Yeah. And somebody's chanting. Oh, Gavesh, you have a question or comment?
I'm still a bit confused, maybe because I had to nip out at the beginning. Why do you say that 934 is the most confidential that's sort of you're my that you're mein geliebter Freund, rather than sort of 1865 and 1866?
Well, Krishna says it personally, you know, Sarva Guyatamam, that this is the most confidential knowledge of all of them, right? And why it is. And why it is also not so openly presented by our acharyas is that people would use it in a wrong way, okay? Because Krishna opens his heart and his mind fully. Like, the most important thing in this whole creation is you. Okay?
Because the way I read sort of 1864 is he says, I'm telling you now the most confidential knowledge, and that's then 65 and 66, and I'm telling that you because you're my best friend, or you're my beloved friend.
As I said, the Prabhupada also doesn't give away that. But if you study the Sanskrit, if you get some Sanskrit scholar who can explain it to you word per word. I tried it here, not very perfectly maybe. This third line, the third line, that you are very dear to me, okay? That's like a quotation, like the ET and the third line is like quotation mark, right? Quotation sign, how you call it? Yeah, that's a quote. Krishna prepares you. He says, I tell you now the biggest secret, and I repeat it for you, and so on, and this is the secret. And the next two verses is just expansion of that. Well, Krishna again says, Priya, you are very dear to me. It is difficult to get from translation of Prabhupada, because also Prabhupada kept it hidden.
And why do you think he kept it hidden?
Because, as I say, if God says it's the most important thing for me in the whole creation, everywhere, it's you, it's the soul. If this is in open, everybody starts to think, well, I'm so special. The God is running after me. I don't have to do anything because he wants me. Okay? And we are enough egomaniac in this material world already, as we are. Yeah? So you don't have to put such a knowledge in open, like, look, Krishna is looking for you. Yeah? He wants you back. Okay, then he should do something for me. Even amongst the devotees, look how often this mentality is present. Yeah? We should be understanding more of the philosophy and more how it goes, but it's like always, why Krishna make it so difficult, or why Krishna doesn't help me, and so on and so forth. This kind of mentality which this ego brings with it. Okay, you understand?
Yes, thank you.
But you're not convinced, okay?
I was just thinking, why would Prabhupada? I mean, I can see it to some extent, but then on the other side, I'm thinking, well, this is really an important message, isn't it? Why would you hide it so much?
Yeah, I mean,
I also read in the Surrender Unto Me from Burichandar, he doesn't really mention any of this either. So I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I think
why make it so difficult? Make it so difficult to find that.
Yeah, Buddhism Prabhu is also not such an expert in Sanskrit, because one has to really study the Sanskrit to understand it. Yeah, no. If you read all the translations, Bhaktivedanta Thakur gave so much knowledge open, but he also, some things he kept hidden, and this is like in Chaitanya Charitamrita when Kaviraj Das Goswami writes, Actually, all this, what I'm about to write, it is too secret and too holy to actually put it on paper, right? But I will do it anyway because the people who are not qualified will anyway not understand it. And, so there's a similar thing here in this verse. It's only those who are so high, so to say, or so, willing to, to put everything on the one cart, so bet everything on one horse. Those will get it. Those who are prepared for this knowledge. The best source would be here Garuda Prabhu. He explained it very nicely in his, what is called his Bhagavad Gita? I forgot. He wrote a commentary on Bhagavad Gita. He's Prabhupada disciple. He's teaching Bhagavad Gita in university. And he studied Sanskrit for 50 years now, actually, almost. So there you can get it fully explained also. And then once you get it, then you also will see in other commentaries and other places, you will get it, That's the beauty of our philosophy, that as long as we don't know something, we just don't notice it in the books. But if somebody explains it to you, somebody shows it, then suddenly you see it everywhere. Yes, Garuda Das Kaviraj, I think he's called. You can get his book on Amazon. It's pretty costly, but you can get it there. Anybody else? Comments or questions?
I'm not an expert in other religions, but isn't it that Krishna consciousness is the only religion which stated loving relationships between the Supreme Person and the living entity?
Yes, practically. I mean, the old Judaism was not so bad. In Kabbalah and so on, there is a lot of mention, like in the Bible, the David, the David Psalms. Yeah? They are pretty much pure bhakti, what he says there. If you get proper translation, of course, because also there's different translations of that. But yes, the Krishna consciousness and the Vedic, especially Krishna consciousness, because it's we are coming from Lord Chaitanya's in Lord Chaitanya line, and all our acharyas are coming in Srimati Radharani line, even, like gopis of Manjaris, and that's really, really special, So yes, our whole philosophy is that God loves us, and He wants us back. And we should just love Him back. I mean, love Him also. So, and I wanted to mention one thing to what you said, that you have big picture of Balaram on your altar, and that's also I wrote once in a group that actually when we look at ISKCON, we are pretty sectarian actually here, because of the reason that our acharyas were all from Srimati Radharani line, So the Gopi Bhava, Manjari Bhava, that's like the highest, and we know about that and so on. And then just try to imagine what happens if we have a follower of Chandravali in our movement, for instance. She will feel very uncomfortable to hear all that. So it's like in our movement, we have gopis and manjaris. That's, cowherd boys are kind of accepted. That's okay to be cowherd boy. But everything else is like not being there. Right? But in spiritual world, you have devotees. You have gopis of Balaram, for instance. I know one devotee who is we can say Gopi of Balaram. You know? And she really was speaking about that, and everybody was just criticizing her and looking weird at her until I told her just stop it, you know, keep it in your heart, you know, because you will not be understood. Yeah. And so on, you know, like parental rasa, like, I mean, except for something about Yashoda Mai and Nanda Maharaj, what does it mean to be in parental rasa? You know? How you would explain to someone? You know? Because every one of us can explain a lot about Srimati Radharani, right? And relationship, but all other rasas or other relationships, you know, we really need to open ourselves more to also other kinds of the devotees of Vishnu, for instance, or Ramachandra. You know, in Lord Chaitanya's movement, when Lord Chaitanya was there were all kinds of devotees. You know, when you read in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there were devotees of Ramachandra, there were devotees of Vishnu, of Nrsimhadev, right? Everybody was there, and everybody has his place. So, yeah, if you are a devotee of Balaram, it's very good, very nice. Yeah. And even if you hear from everyone else, now you should worship Krishna and you should be in this mood, and, no, you need to find your mood. No? Don't be pushed in some direction or a corner that you don't like to be, which is not your mood.
Thank you very much. I would like to add to Loka Pavani's statement that 2 days before Karama Kanaraj was in Golokadam, and he held a morning lecture where he told a dream of a dream he had too, a dream of Krishna and the spiritual world. And then after the dream, he asked himself, was it really Krishna I've seen? And he said it wasn't. It was a mental thing because he was not rolling on the ground and something like this. It was only a mental thing. If Loka Pavani is interested in, it's the day before the morning lecture on Facebook in Golokadam. He told about this about his dream. And the other thing. Now I come closer to the point that I left Krishna, and from this point of view, I think everything is amazing what Krishna is doing for us. Every little thing is amazing what Krishna is doing for us. That actually that he wants us back and now now it's more possible for me to see everything as mercy. The happiness and the suffering.
It's nice realization, nice, yeah. That we left Krishna, and actually whatever he does for us, that's amazing, right? We broke his heart, we left away. It's just like, you know, like, I don't know, your husband or wife would just leave, you know, with somebody else, and you would be doing everything for them anyway, right? That would be quite amazing love, right? And that's what Krishna does. No? We went away from him to someone else, and still he's there for us. No? Very nice. And about this dream, maybe Kandama Maharaj is very humble, but actually I spoke with some advanced devotees about all this, because, you know, you never know, right? Krishna may appear at any moment to you in a dream, or even if you read about so many saintly persons in our line, in our sampradaya, somebody is just chanting and falls in samadhi, right? It's like, and he's there with Krishna. And for me, the question was always, how do you know he just doesn't sleep and dream something, right? How do you know that it's real? This was my question, which I asked. It was really bothering me. It's like, okay, how do I know it is real? It's not just, you know, you space out during japa and you fall asleep, right? And I got interesting answers, and the essence of that would be that, you know, it's not necessarily that you then have to roll on the ground or be totally in ecstasy, because Krishna will appear to you in the form or a picture or a mood that you're accustomed to. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be that you fully, you know, totally in ecstasy and rolling only, cannot, you know, your body becomes long, like 3 meters, or becomes like a turtle, no? Like Lord Chaitanya had his ecstasies. Yeah. But Krishna shows himself in the way that we can actually understand and tolerate, and we are ready for. So sometimes it's not maybe this original form from Golokadam. It may be some other. It may appear in the photo of the picture that you just saw the last day. Okay, or you have some. No, for instance, I have some nice picture, and this picture appears a lot in my mind. No. So you have some favorite picture of Krishna, how he looks, how his mood, and so on, and in such a way he may also appear to you. No. So yeah, we should be prepared and have faith that Krishna knows what he's doing for us. Okay. Anybody else wants to ask something or add something? Oh, Hemaji, you want to add something?
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
So my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami, he speaks a lot about taking shelter of Lord Nityananda, and because he gives daily Chaitanya Leela classes, and he quotes from like Chaitanya Charitamrita or Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Bhagavat. And some of the things he says, that whoever hears the pastime of Lord Nityananda coming to Navadvip, Lord Nityananda destroys their absorption in material consciousness completely. And he also says that whoever hears any words emanating from the mouth of Lord Nityananda, well, for that person, there's no possibility of maintaining material consciousness. And he's always glorifying the process of taking shelter of Lord Nityananda. And he says that for one, if a person who glorifies the process of taking shelter of Lord Nityananda, or a person who even takes shelter of Lord Nityananda, he's very dear to Lord Chaitanya. So just some of the things he benefits of remembering Lord Nityananda that I remember.
Yes, it's very important personality, Lord Nityananda. Now we have so much about Lord Chaitanya, right? Called Chaitanya Charitamrita, so to say, is about Lord Chaitanya and his mood. We have very little of Lord Nityananda, because we are in the line of Lord Chaitanya and Goswamis. You know? So we should really try to understand who Lord Nityananda is, because, as I said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is it's very strictly said, really. You know. Is warning us, if we don't appreciate Lord Nityananda, actually we cannot really attain perfection on Lord Chaitanya and so on.
I just wanted to share one pastime as well, I remember, about Lord Nityananda coming to Navadvip. Or maybe you can share it. It's he was hiding in the house of Nandanacharya. And Lord Chaitanya asked his devotees to go and find this great personality who's come to Navadvip. And the devotees went searching everywhere and they couldn't find him. They just couldn't find anybody. Then they came back to Lord Chaitanya and told him, and Lord Chaitanya says that, you know, just like the sun, you can't go searching for the sun appears at its own time. So similarly, you can't find God shows himself. And then he took the Sankirtan party into the streets, and there Lord Nityananda was, they spotted him, Lord Chaitanya spotted him, and the garden courtyard of Nandanacharya because he got ecstatic because he heard the kirtan. And when Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda met, Guru Maharaj described that Lord Chaitanya took Lord Nityananda in his lap. So Lord Nityananda was sitting on the lap of Lord Chaitanya. And usually it's the other way around. Like usually Lord Vishnu sits on the lap of Shesha on the incarnation of Lord Nityananda. But this time Lord Nityananda was sitting on the lap of Lord Chaitanya. They were having some conversations and the associates could not understand what they were saying. They were just admiring each other like two cupids. It was described like two cupids looking at each other and admiring them. And then Lord Chaitanya, he also did something. He took the dust from the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda and he sprinkled it onto his associates, and then they all became ecstatic. They started dancing in ecstasy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just something I wanted to share that I remembered from Guru Maharaj's classes.
Nice. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's all amazing. Like the relationship between them, it's like Lord Nityananda is the total avathood. So he was so angry with Lord Chaitanya, he took sannyas that he broke his danda. No? Like, what is that? Like, and Lord Chaitanya was, no, it's okay. I'm sannyasi now, and Lord Nityananda, okay, can I hold your danda when you take breath? Okay. And then he just broke it. And Lord Chaitanya, who couldn't even be angry. He of course showed him some anger, but no. So he's total avathood. We have to really appreciate this quality of him. That he's avathood because he shows nothing matters. Nothing matters in the material world. Whoever you are, whatever you did, it really is all same if you just chant Hare Krishna, if you just open your heart to Krishna. So that's this mood of his compassion and mercy of Lord Balaram. Just pure compassion and pure mercy. Because if you want to go to Goloka Dham, to Goloka Vrindavan, to meet Krishna personally, first you have to go through all the guards, There's like, first is the Shiva, right? There's all kinds of other forms. And then at the end, even when you get there, still there's a Vasudev Krishna. And the difference between Vasudev Krishna and Nandana Krishna is that Vasudev Krishna, he is in Mathura. He knows about material world and he knows about the demons and so on. So he's prepared for whatever is there. And that is the last form you have to really convince that you are in love with Krishna, that you can enter actually Goloka Dham. So it's really like the last test. And only then, if everybody you convince that you will not break Krishna's heart again, then you can enter. And Lord Nityananda, he really gives us one shortcut after another. And even if you don't want to take it, he will force himself in your heart, and in your mind. You just need to be just a little open.
This was a question which came in my mind today. Maybe we make it back to the spiritual world. Is it possible that we can break Krishna's heart again, that it can happen again?
Well, theoretically, yes. Okay. But, I don't know. If you go now, you are in no European, right?
From next month, today is still in Schwerin, but...
Anyway, in Schwerin is the same. No? You just go out and go to the lake and jump in the lake. Well, you can do that, right? And you know, experience will be for sure interesting. Yeah. So next time, if such a crazy idea gets in your head, you will remember, no, I did it already. I know how it is to jump in the middle of the winter in the cold water. Okay. And the other reason, the other thing is here that actually the very reason why we left the first time, it has to be given up so that you can go back. Yeah. So probably every one of us has different reason. Usually we say, yeah, that's envy or something like that. It's not necessarily envy. That's very, how you say, general term. But the thing is that there was something that you didn't like in the pastimes of Krishna or what he showed you, or you thought, oh, it could be actually done better. Why like I had to do like this and not like that? You know? So whatever reason was, you will have to learn to give it up in order to go back to spiritual world. And Krishna leads you there, right? And as everything is personified, there's a person inside you, so sitting on your soul, so to say, the head of your soul, you want to say, okay, who is responsible that this quality comes up, and you have to give it up. So, like for instance, if you are Manjari and you think, why I'm so small? I would rather be Gopi, and I have better ideas how to play and please Krishna than Radharani, and so on, and you know, then this kind of knowing better, being a little, well, proud or whatever you may call it, it has to be given up. If you're a friend of Krishna and you're thinking, oh, I would rather just play with girls like Krishna does, why I have to go with the cows to the forest? I mean, cows? Come on. So this quality you will have to give up. And then when you give it up and you really fall in your original position, then you would notice, okay, this actually makes me happy. Not as other speculative things that I had in my mind, why I left first time, which is the reason why I left first time. So that may sound scary and complicated, but you know, because of mercy of Guru, Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya, is actually made very easy for us. You know.
Excuse me, that means it's a quality. It's not that we, Prabhupada explains in the Bhagavad Gita that the material world are the shackles of sex life. Is this right in English? Die Fesseln des Geschlechtslebens?
Yeah, shackles, yes. Shackles.
Shackles of sex life. I thought that the first reason of our fall down is that we become attracted to male or female, or is this wrong? We don't have a male or female body in this sense in the spiritual world.
That's not the main reason, no.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons. Okay. Of course, it is difficult to give it up. You know, there's sex desire and so on. But that's not the biggest obstacle. That's not the biggest thing to give up. Prabhupada writes it many times actually in his books that the biggest pleasure for the living entity is to control someone else. That is what the biggest problem is, to give up. You know? Because even we see in our movement, there are people who live in celibacy for a long time. but they are so controlling, so, well, unmerciful, you may say, you know, that is amazing. And they cannot go back with this attitude. You know, this has to be given up. So, even if we just consider such a gross fall downs, you know, we are very much sensitive about the gross fall downs, right? Like someone, you know, is drinking, or somebody takes drugs, you know, somebody runs away with, runs around with many women or men, you know. For us, that's just like the worst thing, because we are, you know, we are trained this, you know, Judeo-Christianity, you know, and that's what they see always, the gross stuff. The gross stuff is the worst. But actually, what is much more dangerous, like extremely much more dangerous, is the philosophical fall down. There's something that's practically, you know, just nobody cares about. And if you are philosophically screwed up, you can, I mean, you can go to hell for millions of years. Or you can, you know, like there was this Prabhupada disciple who told him, please, Prabhupada, bless me that I find really spiritual master, because I learned from Babajis in Radhakund that you are not really, you know, up to the standard. No? And you know what kind of offense it is? For 10 millions of lifetimes, you don't get another spiritual master, bona fide spiritual master. You know? So that is dangerous. If you just fall down, or, you know, drink something or whatever, you know, this can be rectified really quickly. But the philosophical, you know, that's make you that's really can take you far away from Krishna consciousness and from Krishna. You know, like criticizing devotees. You know, some people make like sports out of it. You know, just going around in internet and finding faults in the devotees. If they cannot find a fault, then they create a fault. Yeah. You know what kind of reactions they will get for that? So that is the real danger here. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Very helpful.
Can I ask something? Because you were talking about different relationships towards Krishna and having a different perception of Krishna. I was thinking sometimes that mostly when we read from our acharyas, we read about Gokula Krishna, yeah?
Yes.
The earthly pastimes. And we don't read so much about the spiritual world. Or am I wrong? And I'm just wondering, how is it? Because our meditation then mainly is on this earthly pastimes. And yeah, do we have some insight into spiritual Krishna, Goloka Krishna, Vrindavan?
And the reason for that is because these pastimes are so much sweeter. Because Krishna is a baby, he's a small child. You know? In Goloka, Vrindavan, he's always around 16. So he's teenagers, and they have all the fun that teenagers have. You know? Like that. But here, no, Krishna first is born, and he's like a baby. And then there's so many descriptions, really nice. This is more for Vatsalya Rasa, for parental love. It would be fun to read. How Mother Yashoda and other gopis, how we're chasing after him. How Krishna, when he was little already, when he was just, crawling, or how you say, going on the 4 legs. He was already playing with animals that had teeth, or that had horns, or fangs, right? And Mother Yashoda and other gopis, they had just full hands of work, just chasing behind Krishna and looking that he doesn't play with bulls or with the snakes or jackals and so on. And Krishna was totally restless and so on. So that is, you know, like so sweet when you see such a nice small child, which is, you know, yeah, totally sweet and laughing and just running freely, like like catching the tail of the calf and then being dragged through the mud. You know? So this pastimes you don't have in the spiritual world. Yeah. And everybody of our acharyas could really, I mean, there were manjaris anyway, most of them, and manjaris are small, you know, they are about 5 years old. Yeah, so they are very innocent, and that's what they were mostly attracted to. Yeah. And they wanted to share with us. And it is really, it's amazing when Krishna is growing up and they steal butter when he is, you know, still small. It's different when the teenagers comes to steal something from you, right? And then the baby steals that you're actually laughing and, oh, it's so sweet. No? Yeah, teenagers are like, get out of here or whatever. No. And there's so many such pastimes from Gokula Vrindavan. So that's just, yeah, the rasa is totally different. It's much more sweet. And the other reason maybe is that, you know, we are not fully ready to go to Goloka Vrindavan usually. There's very few people who know, maybe like Raghunath Das Goswami or Rupa Goswami, like that, you know. They're ready to go back to the spiritual world. But for us, there is one more station usually, that means Gokula Vrindavan. We are born in this material world in Vrindavan when Krishna is there to finish our training. You know? So that's maybe another reason that they want to prepare us for that. You know, that's it's not so bad to be born again, because first time when I heard it, and it was really long ago, maybe about 30 years already, that I need to be born again in this material world in Vrindavan. I was going like, oh no, really? Why? That's unfair. But now I'm getting more into, you know, this mood that, well, actually it would be so much fun. When Krishna is small and just run with him when he's, you know, a little child and do all kinds of nonsense, you know. So yeah, there's maybe another reason why the Goswamis are concentrating more about that. And also because here is happening much more actually than in Goloka Vrindavan. I mean, Goloka Vrindavan is all about love. There's practically love flowing in the air, and it's just love, and everybody is so loving, and even all the rasas that are just surrendered to this Madhurya Lasa, you know, in the spiritual world. But here in this world it's a little different, you know? Like when Krishna leaves Vrindavan and he's not there, then you have the separation. You know? Or when the demons are coming, there is a fear, you know, and everyone's running to Krishna for shelter. And when Indra sends the rain, you know. So like also here is it's a lot of happening, which is not exactly happening in spiritual world. In spiritual world, you have just the rumors of demons. Now there's rumor that some demon is coming. The brother is like, oh, okay. But here, you know, the Keshi comes and he just smashes everything around, right? So yeah, so those pastimes can be in many ways much more attractive to us than those in spiritual world, where you just sit around and feel love, you know, and just wait till Krishna comes back from the field with cows. So, yeah. So, still have material minds, and we have to make them busy a little bit with something more that we can grasp. Anybody else maybe has some comments to that? Okay.
Hare Krishna. So does that mean we have to go through that same experience of staying in a mother's womb for 9 months? Or do we just manifest in Gokul Vrindavan?
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I don't have yet full answer for this. On one hand, like when I kind of know that, I mean, I saw it somewhere, when the other, like Radharani and everybody else appears, right, in this material world, so to say. I mean, Krishna takes them from one universe to the other. But when they appear, they kind of just appear there. It's like when Lord Balaram appeared, he was not in the womb for so many months. There was another embryo, another baby, so to say. And then in the last moment, just Lord Balaram replaced it, like that. So something like this happens to most of those denizens of the Vrindavan, like Nanda Maharaj, he has to be also born, right? So they just kind of appear, yes, like they don't have to go through all the suffering and birth and so on. I don't know how it's about us. Maybe we need to get purified still in some way, get to some suffering. That's I don't know yet. I would have to study more about that.
Thank you.
Pavani wanted to say?
I have a question. I have a question about these things that we have to give up, that you were explaining, that before we go to the spiritual world, everyone has something that she or he has to give up. So I'm not only asking about that, I'm asking about a lot of anarthas that we have in our hearts. And so sometimes I'm confused, like, because we have to give it up, but at the same time, Krishna cleanses the heart. So is it like, am I actually having any influence in that, or I just actually depend on the mercy when it will go away? Or because maybe I'm trying to control how to get out, but well, because I want to get my heart cleansed, because I don't like some things in my heart.
Yeah. I mean, there's few things here. The most important thing is actually we need to want to have our heart cleansed. Okay, so we have to show this desire, and we have to focus on that we want, and that we really want it. And then, I mean, ultimately we are dependent on Kripa. That's ultimate cleansing, and everything is done by Krishna. But he doesn't cleanse everything, because he wants us to learn, that we learn. As I said a few times already, that Krishna could clean our heart, everyone in the material world, just like like that. But the question is, would you stay clean? Would you stay pure, or for how long? And we see in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Bhagavatam, examples of that. That people who just got some mercy and so on, and later they forgot or did something else, right? So, so therefore, Krishna is a little bit careful of how he is cleansing us, and what he takes away, what has to still stay for us, so that we can make this endeavor, that we can go through the pain, we go through the detachment, and we really get it. I don't want it. I really don't want it. That's it. I'm finished with this desire, with this anartha. No? So that's our kind of preparing ourselves. It's like Arjuna. Arjuna was depending on Krishna. Krishna killed everyone on battlefield, right? He said it already. But still, Arjuna spent his life of training, right? He was preparing himself to be a warrior. No? So he was shooting the arrows, he was chanting mantras, he was going hunting. Even Krishna took him hunting, right? Just before battlefield of Kurukshetra, because Arjuna needed some more training. No? So Krishna was there for him. He arranged everything so that Arjuna was safe and so on. But Arjuna had to do his part, you know, like showing Krishna, look, I can shoot those arrows, right? Yeah. So that is our part also. Like, yeah, Krishna, you will help, or please help me. I cannot do myself. But I'm trying to do my part. It's okay, I'm chanting, I'm trying to address the anarthas through chanting, to clean them. No, I'm trying consciously to give up stuff, to change my habits, and so on and so forth. And ultimately, when Krishna's, like, I had one lecture which really stuck deeply, that we're fighting, we're doing, and we're suffering, and we're falling down, we're getting up, we're doing. And at the end, Krishna comes and says, thank you very much. And he just, gives us everything. So this really stuck with me, this thank you very much. That's how Krishna is. He's not ungrateful. Or Prabhupada or our gurus, they are not ungrateful that you work for them the whole life, and in the end, they will say, no, there is this, no. You did like 95%, 5%, you could have done better. So they are not that ungrateful. Then there are our acharyas or Krishna. Yeah. Okay. Amaj, you have still something?
I have something connected, I think.
Oh, okay.
The question about dealing with anarthas, because I guess sometimes I feel when, for example, if I get hurt or something happens, and going through all these emotions of resentment, anger, whatever, but then I actually perceive that down deep somewhere is love. And then I see how the mind is always going, okay, do I have to now actively deal with all these emotions and release them and see what I have to learn from them and, what I did or whatever? Or is it really the goal to just stay with this love and try to, I don't know,
Yes.
cleanse from there? Because it sounds like sometimes I feel very naive when I know, just stay in that place. And I feel, okay, actually everything is good and there's love and I can actually give this love, but it feels so naive because.
So the thing is that the love is the most powerful vibration in the universe. Okay. So love can actually destroy, dissolve everything. Any other emotion, any other, whatever is there. The love can clean everything. So if you can stay in the love, then actually there's no problems because they will just dissolved. There's no extra endeavor even. Sometimes Krishna sends us little something that we get it and we realize something. But if you nevertheless stay in your heart, in your love, you will get it like that. You will get it like instantaneously, practically. And then the love dissolves whatever problems you may have. So that's the best way to go. It's just that we always think, we are so unqualified, we are so low, and we are this, and I have to still, sit in the mountains in the cold river through the winter, or in the ring of fire, and then I will get qualified. When you read in Chaitamrita about the symptoms of the ecstatic love, okay, and there's one very interesting verse. When the symptoms of the ecstatic love manifest or start to awaken, start to show, I don't remember exactly the translation, then following qualities appear in the soul, also in the living being, okay? And it starts with very interesting quality. Want to guess what could be? The first quality when it starts is forgiveness. And usually we take it, yeah, we need to forgive everyone. That's very good. And from my experience, not that difficult. Okay. It may be a little hard sometimes, but actually forgive others is pretty easy when we go for it. But forgive ourselves, now that's another level. That's a whole another world. And that's where we have a problem, that we cannot forgive ourselves. Therefore, we always go in this fear or this, I'm unqualified, I cannot do that. I need still, 10 million lifetimes of hard work, then I will be qualified, because we cannot forgive ourselves. So that's a tricky part here. We cannot forgive ourselves for this lifetime, for whatever things we did or lost, or for grief. Right? We need to grieve. We hear it lately. And this all can be really gone. We forgive ourselves, say, okay, I did a stupid thing. I came here. I did all kinds of nonsense in this material world. Just forget it now. No, just think about Lord Nityananda. He is accepting us. He's waiting, and he says, "Forget it." No, so Lord Nityananda says, "Forget it," and you say, "Okay, but I just need to suffer a little more." Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that is where we need to go. Really. Inside our heart and forgive ourselves and say, okay, Krishna, I'm just ready. Good. Amaji, you had a question or comment?
Hare Krishna. I wanted to just share one pastime that I heard in Guru Maharaj's class about Lord Nityananda. Just a very brief one. So one day, Sachi Mata, she had a dream, and she was telling Lord Chaitanya about this dream. And in the dream, Lord Balram and Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya were little boys, and they entered the deity room of Lord Sachi Mata's house, and they picked up the deities of Krishna and Balram. And Lord Nityananda picked up Krishna, and Lord Chaitanya picked up Balram, and they started removing them from the deity room, and they started arguing with them and saying that, get out of here, this house is ours, all this bhoga, you're stealing it from us, this sandesh, it's ours. And the times were gone when you were cowherd, when the days of the cowherd boys, you were stealing all this. Now all this is over. And so Lord Nityananda was saying all this to the deities, and they were taking the deities out. And then Lord Balaram, he replied back to Lord Nityananda. He threatened Lord Nityananda that, in the name of Lord Krishna, you better not misbehave, Lord Nityananda then argued back with Lord Balram, so the deity of Balram. Lord Nityananda said to him, I'm not afraid of your Lord Krishna because my Lord is Lord Gaurasundar. So in this way, like the deities were arguing with little Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda in Sachimata's dream. And Sachimata was telling Lord Chaitanya that you were quarreling like this, you and Lord Nityananda with the deities, with my Krishna Balram deities, and I didn't understand anything that was going on. And then so she was just telling Lord Chaitanya about this dream. So I just remembered that, so I wanted to share.
Okay, thank you. I just have one more comment. And then I think we need to finish, no? It's getting late. And someone wrote me here that some things are unforgivable. No, there are no unforgivable things. Okay. Just keep it in mind that we did all kinds of horrible things in this material world already. It's like, you know, we're just thinking about this lifetime. I did something here and did something there. Oh, it's bad. Yes, it's maybe bad. Okay, this maybe broke us in some way. Okay, but I can, you know, I can really tell you, you did worse in other lifetimes. You know? And whatever we could do, or we could have done here, just think about Jada and Madai. Okay, they went through the Manu Samhita, right? And all the rules, they broke all the rules. Like, okay, rape, okay, let's rape. You know, killing Brahmanas, let's kill Brahmanas. Okay, and so on and so forth. And all that, not like book of bad things, you know, it was all forgiven. Just because they surrendered, they decided, okay, we surrender to Krishna. And all the sins just went away. All the reactions for the sins just went away, right? So that is the mercy of Lord Nityananda in Lord Chaitanya. And Krishna, he's the most merciful and kind person, and he really doesn't care what we did here. As long as we want to go back to him, everything will be cleaned, everything will be forgiven. Kavesh, you want to say something or comment? You have hand.
Yeah. Because I was thinking, yes, I mean, Jaga and Madai is a good example, but then also I heard a lecture from Kadamba Kanana Swami the other day, and he also said, you know, we've done so many things before we came to Krishna consciousness, you know, and obviously things. But then he also said something very significant: sin no more. So now that you're with Krishna, sin no more. It makes you wonder sort of what happens to those things you actually already know it, and you still sort of do stuff.
Yes. So what if you have some material desires, right? What if you have some debts to some people? No, we are so much entangled in this material world. We have debts to some people. We have to do something for others. We owe something to others, like that. And Krishna always leads us in such a way, you know, that we can like satisfy our desires or get rid of them, get rid of our debts and connections to others, and so on. Okay. So there's a verse. What is this? Ananya Bhag, the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Sadur Eva. What was the Sadur Eva Samantavya?
Apiche Suduracharo Bhajate Ma.
Yeah, exactly.
9:30.
Yes, Apiche Suduracharo. Prabhupada also writes there very nicely, you know, that those devotees the devotees, they never fall down because they are directly under care of Krishna. And what does it mean is that even if somebody does something stupid, okay, and Krishna purifies you in such a way that you will actually benefit from that, okay? Because you are under direct care from Krishna. There's a really interesting purport in Bhakti Bhushana, what is it? Baladeva Vidyabhushana purport to Bhagavad Gita on this verse. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also explains it very nicely. Prabhupada goes in other direction here. He just mentions. But Krishna takes personally care of such a person to rectify it, and even more, Krishna will turn it in such a way that this person actually gets benefit from this fall down or whatever horrible thing may happen. Yeah? And sometimes some devotees, well, they need to satisfy some means, some weird desire, you know, some things we cannot just give up. Yeah. We'll be always thinking, oh, I didn't try that in my life. Yeah. And I know so many devotees, they, you know, for no reason, they just did something stupid. Yeah. It's like, seems like no reason at all. Why this happened? And they go like, why? How? Okay. But there was a plan. If we don't go around beating ourselves and just thinking, okay, I fell down, I did this mistake and so on, I just depend on Krishna. I go, Krishna, this happened to me. I don't know how, I don't know why, whatever. Please purify me from that, so it doesn't happen again. Okay, then we can really pray from our heart to Him, and He answers them very quickly. And sometimes also He challenges us, you know, like Sarva Dharma Parityaja. How much you are attached to your rules and regulations, right? Like the Yagya Brahmanas, you know. It's also we meet very often in ISKCON, the Yagya Brahmanas. No, this has to be like this and this, and they don't see the goal behind. They don't see Krishna. You know, so sometimes Krishna shakes such people who seem to be very strict and very paka, and it's just, you know, to show them the rules and regulations will not save you. I save you. Okay, my mercy will save you. Okay? So we really need to go in the no, instead of beating ourselves and thinking why and whatever, staying in the past, just like really take it all off, throw it down, and I'm going into the future. And my goal is Krishna, nothing less. So yeah. Is it okay? Never worry about the past. Never. Think about how beautiful future you can create. How amazing future you can create. And this you're creating right now. If you get out of this past stuff, which is dragging you down. Okay, I was talking quite long. Yeah. Thank you very much for appearing, for your nice questions and comments and pastimes. And I hope to see you next week, actually, right? We are scheduled for the next week. Yeah. And then some of you I will see in Radhadesh soon. So, okay. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your great service. Thank you very much.